Hello, everybody. Today I will be reading an excerpt from Life's Dark Corners, my crime anthology. Lately I've been doing the chapters of Shallow Seeds, the first story, and today we're on chapter 5. So if you're interested, check out the other 4 chapters and then come back and watch this one. Okay? All right, let's get started. Chapter 5. One day, Calvin was making another drop when he got pulled over. He checked his speedometer and noticed he was going 15 over the speed limit. Silently cursing himself, he obeyed the wordless order of the flashing lights and pulled over. Hopefully he could save some time, so he rummaged through the glove compartment for his registration and proof of insurance. As the cop came into view, Calvin swallowed hard. Of course, he would get that kind of cop who must have played a lot of football in high school. This guy was huge, with a square jaw and hands the size of ham hocks. The serious frown on his face completed the goon ensemble. "License and registration," he ordered when he got to the window. Calvin obeyed and handed him the documentation. He examined the license and then the registration. The whole time he kept glancing at Calvin suspiciously. "Everything okay, officer?" Calvin asked, trying not to stammer. "Just wondering why you were driving so damn fast," the cop replied. "I'm sorry about that. I was kind of running late for something." "For what?" "Oh, I do shop and drive." The cop crossed his arms. "No shit, my cousin does that. How's the money?" Calvin shrugged his shoulders, relaxing a little. "Can't complain. Beats punching a clock, you know. Preaching to the choir. All right, let me check all this out." As the cop walked back to his car, Calvin took some deep breaths. For a minute, he thought he would get hauled in, especially with the cop's initial demeanor. He didn't mind getting a ticket as long as his vehicle wasn't searched or towed. Then he remembered something that drained the color from his face. Unfortunately, the cop was already back at the window. "You've got some unpaid tickets, bro," he exclaimed. "They got a warrant out for you." Calvin prayed for a heart attack, anything that could get him out of the situation he was in. "I can pay those now," he replied urgently. "That's not up to me," the cop said gruffly. "I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you in. You got somebody who can come pick up this vehicle?" Calvin thought desperately. The only person he could trust was Roger, but Calvin didn't want to involve him in this mess. However, he also didn't want his car, which contained a shopping bag worth of dope, in a police impound lot. So he called Roger's phone, but he didn't pick up. "Look," the cop stated, "we don't have all day. Step out of the vehicle. It's not that big a deal. You'll be out in a few hours." "Maybe we can work something out," Calvin cried, and immediately wished he could take it back. "Excuse me?" the cop asked. Then he put his hand on his gun holster and took a step back. "Get out of the car, now." Calvin could cry, but he had no choice but to suck it up and get out of the car. As soon as he did, the cop had his cuffs out and ordered Calvin to put his hands behind his back. Calvin did so and heard the cuffs click behind him and felt the metal slightly dig into his skin. He watched helplessly as the cop began to search his car. The worst thing he'd hoped the cop would find, which he did, was a single joint in the glove compartment. Add that to the list of the other fines he owed. It wasn't the joint Calvin was worried about. What really made him nervous was when the cop popped the trunk from the button on the dashboard and strolled to the back of the car. He opened it up and looked at the grocery bags, and he made no effort to be gentle as he ransacked them. "Asshole's on a power trip," Calvin thought to himself, but he didn't dare run his mouth to the cop. Then he saw the cop reach into the spare tire compartment and his heart dropped. That's where the guys always placed the dope. They figured most cops wouldn't just tear up a random person's car, but it was Calvin's luck that he got a would-be Gestapo agent to search his. Sure enough, he found the bag that was in the spare tire compartment and pulled it out. When he looked inside, his eyes went wide and he glanced back at Calvin. "You know we both know what this is, right?" he asked with a smile. "I've never seen that bag in my life," Calvin answered, which was the actual truth since it was already in the compartment when he came back to the car. "Thought you were slick a second ago, trying to pay your way out of a ticket. Well, I'll tell you what this is." The cop put the bag back into the car. "This is an even bigger payday for me, motherfucker." Calvin's ears perked up and he picked up his head to look back at the cop. "Excuse me? How about this? I'll stop by your place tomorrow and you'll have a present ready for me. Or should I say 6,000 presents. He rushed toward Calvin so their faces were inches away. "Otherwise, I'll rain down a shitstorm on your life, my friend. Got it?" Got it, Calvin stammered. The cop smiled. "Good. Name's Whitson, by the way." He went around and took the cuffs off Calvin's wrists. "But before you leave, you can put some of the stuff in my car. You just saved me a trip to the store." Calvin had never been shaken down before. He was too small time for that. Now that he had moved up a step in the underworld, it came with not only new opportunities, but also new dangers. One of them was having a crooked cop who could fuck him at any time. As he humiliatingly moved the groceries into the back of Whitson's patrol car, he thought about how the hell he was going to come up with $6,000 by tomorrow. But first he had to practice his preferred method of stress relief. He contacted his connection. They met at an abandoned parking lot of a closed department store. 2 minutes later, Calvin was $50 poorer, but he was set up for his next fix of TNT. Not wanting to take the shit home, he took the powdery substance and made a line right on the passenger seat of the car. Without hesitation, he bent down and snorted the whole line. He felt the usual euphoria, though it wasn't as intense as it usually was, a sign of his growing tolerance. So he did another line. This time he reached the high he needed. For a split second, Calvin felt like he was in heaven until the unthinkable happened. His throat felt tight, making it hard to breathe, and he felt a sudden disorientation, and his vision blurred. He felt dizzy, like everything was spinning. Then everything went black. This concludes Chapter 5 of Shallow Seeds from Lifestar Corners. If you're interested in picking up a copy, you can check them out on Amazon on Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and paperback. If you'd like a signed copy, you can actually reach me personally through my website, jamesmichaelsbooks.com, where you can also sign up for my email subscription and get updated on any books, deals, events, content that I have going on. Peace.